Hi there, guys. Basically, I want to do this video live, or live in a sense. I want to do an actual video for you guys because I want you to be able to see me and see face to face. Sometimes it's just nice to see the person you're talking to. And of course, me, spur of the moment kind of guy. I did it right here, sitting in my office doing some work and studying. I thought, hey, let's do this video now for you guys. This is the third video in the series. The first video introducing the whole triangle process, the culture shift process. The second video introducing the first one in terms of principle, and this video introducing the next one in terms of your triangle, in terms of the paradigm. How do you begin shifting your paradigm? And this is just a little preview of what we're going to dig into in the months ahead, right? This is also the Kingdom Culture Kickstarter program. In terms of if you just want a little taster of something, we're going to offer this whole little first section free in a few weeks' time. And probably you're already watching this free for watching. Now you may be watching it for free, or maybe one of our already online member programs. This introducing the principles to you in the days ahead. In the weeks ahead. So yeah, this is around the paradigm and how do we shift paradigm? How do we change really the way we think? There are actually three different ways in terms of changing the way we think. Oh, can you see that there? There we go. Three ways, right? Three ways to change the way we think. We're going to look at one of those ways here today in the video. And it's the easiest way to change what we think because we do so regularly, so easily, and so often. And before I even give you the principle of how to change the way we think, I'm actually going to show it to you, prove it to you experientially how well this really works, okay? So basically, here's what I want you to do. You're sitting in a room, maybe you're sitting by yourself, maybe you're sitting with a spouse or a family friend or a loved one. Maybe you decided that God's told you to do this whole course for your entire home group, and you're taking a whole home group, you've signed up for one membership, and the whole home group's watching. Look, it's not the greatest way to support our ministry, but as between you and God, if you want to do that, it's absolutely fine. At the end of the day, we just want to impact as many people's lives as possible. And so whatever's going on right now, I want you to take just a moment, and when I count to three, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to say, do this, do this, do this. I want you to do exactly what I'm asking you to do, okay? No matter who else is in the room, what else is happening, I need you to do this because it's going to prove the principle. And the best way to understand principle is to experience it, right? Okay, so ready? Here we're going to go. Here we're going to go. Something real simple. All I want you to do is do this one thing. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Right now, I want you to look in the room and focus and look at anything red. Red, 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 red. I want you to notice anything that's red in the room. Anything that's red. Red shirts, red shoes, red fingernails, red lips, red cats, red dogs. Maybe they all have red cats and red dogs. I don't know, right? Maybe there's a red thing on a flag somewhere. Maybe there's a red dresser, a red wall. Maybe you see a red car out the window. Anything that's red in your house. Red, 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 red. Do you see anything red? Red, red. Come on, red, red, red. You can see red. I see red everywhere. Come on, look at red, red, red. You can see the 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 red. I know you can see red. Look at the red. Do you see red? There's people in the room that are probably laughing at you. You're probably laughing with them right now because you see red. You see red. You see red. Everywhere you go, okay? Now stop for a second. I want you to close your eyes. As you close your eyes, I want you to begin to say out loud anything that you saw that was the color blue. What do you mean? We're looking for red. Exactly. You were focusing on red, and so your mind was programmed charging for red. You were looking at red. When I said, tell me all the things you saw blue, your mind went, what? That wasn't there. That's how quick and easy it is to change principle, or change our paradigm, change the way we think. We focus on a principle in life. We focus on that principle reproduces in us of its kind, whatever that principle is, i.e. whatever that belief is about ourselves. Remember in the last video we spoke about maybe beliefs as a parent that you have, a belief you have as a salesperson or a business owner maybe that you've got that are undermining the way you're doing things. That's why it's important to do that exercise. If you haven't done it yet, I hope you're not watching this video. Come on, don't watch this video unless you've done the exercise on the last video already, okay? Because they build on each other. Because you're going to take those principles, those beliefs maybe you have that are undermining in the problem areas of your life. You're going to take those because you're focusing on those. Unconsciously or consciously, you're focusing on those beliefs, on those principles about yourself. And therefore, it's reproducing bad things for you, okay? What we want to do is we want you to shift that focus to a positive space. It's not just positive thinking. You have to actually shift your focus completely, all right? Completely shift the focus. When you shift that focus, it will reproduce of its kind in you. So I hope I proved that point in terms of getting you to focus on the red and then suddenly asking you for blue. Interesting, some of you didn't even see anything really red in your room or in your house or other people around you, did you? But you were calling things red that weren't necessarily really red, weren't you? Maybe you're saying, oh, well, Adam, your lips are reddish on the screen, right? Okay, whatever it is, are these really red? No, they're more of a lighter pink color of some sort, not a red. But that's what happens when you focus on something, even if it's not true, you will see it and start trying to reproduce it. Even if it's not truly what you're looking for, a red color, You will say it, and you'll slip it into that category of red, and therefore reproduce that over and over again in your life, even if it's not true. That's how powerful the point is in terms of shifting your focus, making sure you're focusing on the right things about your life. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to make a quick list of things you want to focus on for tomorrow. What is it you really want to focus on for the next day of your life? Or if you're in the morning now, you're watching this video, what do you want to focus on today? Things which are positive for you, things which the Father has spoken over you. Maybe it's things that prophetic words you want to simply focus on. When I say focus on them, can I encourage you to actually memorize those things word for word? Memorize them. When you memorize it, it almost becomes second nature to your brain operating and functioning and focusing on those things. You see, there was this wonderful principle of Jesus in terms of getting people to focus in various areas, unexpected areas, right? It's something we call a pattern interrupt. And Jesus was the greatest pattern interrupt there was in all of history. Pattern interrupts are those moments when you're focusing in one direction and something comes along and grabs your attention and gets you to focus in somewhere else, so you produce something different. See, many of us have done it with our kids. Whether we agree with the parenting style or not, we've done this with our children. The child comes along, they want the biscuit, they want the lie, they want the sweet, whatever, they can't have it, they start crying, throwing a fit, and you go, oh, look at the birdie, oh, look at that, look at this, right? What are you doing? We call it distraction. What you're getting is it's a pattern interrupt. They're starting to run a pattern of frustration because they can't have what they want. They believe they can't have it, and it's probably true, they can't, right? But in that, you distract them, you focus them somewhere else, you interrupt that pattern, and when they look somewhere else, they'll start to reproduce something else different, which is hopefully a better behavior, a better attitude. We've all done that at times as parents or with little children, and even if you don't agree with doing that, you've probably done it, right? We do it with each other at various times. Salespeople are very good at this, actually. Good salespeople are. The clients are going down a certain track, a certain trail in terms of negative towards a product, and the sales guy has a good way, or sales lady has a good way of sticking something in there. And oh, I noticed you play golf, or I noticed, I saw you the other day out with your child, or shifting the focus to re-engage in a different space again, right? To pull them back in. That's all it is, shifting focus. It's pattern interrupts. Jesus was the greatest pattern interrupt there ever was in humanity. Think about it. For generations, sin had repeated over and over and over and over again. For generations, destruction and sickness had taken place. Over and over and over. The pattern had been set. Sin and his cohorts had set the pattern of destruction and death in place. And then Jesus came in as the master pattern interrupt for all of humanity. And he interrupted the pattern of sin and death and destruction and gets us to think about different things. He shifts the way we think. He gets us to repent. We spoke about it, I'm sure, many times. The word repent means change the way you think. Change the way you think about things. The cross and Christ and what he did for us in the resurrection shifts our thinking, changes the way we think about things, and it interrupts our pattern of sinful behavior. It interrupts our spirit that reproduces sin. Interrupts our soul that reproduces sin. It changes our mind, will, and emotion so we no longer produce sin, but we reproduce the kingdom of heaven. Jesus was the master pattern interrupt. The goal is to focus on what he's told us to focus on. What has he spoke to you? What has he called you to be? What he said about you scripturally, the fact that I mentioned in another video, you're fearfully and wonderfully made, that he has plans to prosper you, all these wonderful scriptures. What are you focusing on today? Because that's the easiest way to begin shifting your thinking, is watching what you're focusing on. Now, some of those beliefs that you've written down are the bad areas of life. What would be a belief that would be exactly opposite of that you believe would line up with what the kingdom says about you, what Jesus says about you? So you take that negative belief about that situation. What's exactly the opposite belief of that? That's probably the kingdom belief, right? And I want you to shift your mind and feel focusing on that. Now, in order for that to truly happen, you have to write that belief, write it in your journal. Make it a screensaver on your phone. Make it a screensaver on your computer screen. Just get it where you're repeating it and seeing it consistently so it gets inside. Because the old way of thinking sits there and it's a bit difficult to change. The easiest way to change shift thinking, or for it to happen continuously, is repetition. Set a new pattern, a new behavior, a new habit in place of the way you think. See, what you focus on is what you're going to reproduce. What you focus on is where you're going to go in life. Jesus was the master pattern interrupt individual. We're going to look at this much later on. I've got a whole video just around the fact of Jesus doing a pattern interrupt and how we do that even more effectively, how do we shift that pattern. But what you focus on changes the way you think. It's one of the ways. There are two other ways to change the way you think as well. We're not going to cover that in the video. This is a short introductory kind of course. We're going to dig deeper, much deeper later on and other ways of thinking. But the easiest way right now for you to change your thinking is watching what you're focusing on. So how about this? Whether it's in the morning you're watching this, whether it's night, you're getting ready to go into the next day, whenever it is, how about focus on this for today, okay? For your benefit, my benefit, for the benefit of others, and for the benefit of the kingdom. How about focus on this? And this is my little catchphrase, my little line, which I'm putting out there so much so lately, and that's simply this. I want you tomorrow or today, whichever it is, I want you to be brave. Focus on being brave for the day. Focus on loving big. Love lavishly today and live generously. Focus on those three things. Okay? Do that. Focus on those things. Being brave, loving lavishly, and living generously. And watch how your day will hopefully be different. I'm sure it will be, actually. How can you give today? How can you love today? And how can you be brave today? Being brave by engaging in somebody else and giving them a pattern interrupt in their day by praying for them. How about a miraculous thing even taking place? That would be a major pattern interrupt for them, would it not? Okay? How about just sharing your faith with somebody? How about just sharing your own story with somebody? Sharing how good God's been to you in your life today. Just sharing a testimony of something that's happened in your life recently. Maybe it's buying a cup of coffee for some stranger at the coffee shop today. Maybe it's buying somebody's groceries for in the trolley in front of you. Maybe it's buying the lunch of the person sitting next to you, a stranger you don't even know. Maybe it's buying the dinner of the family sitting over there somewhere. Whatever it is, be brave, love big, and live generously. And start shifting your thinking, changing your paradigm, the way you think. I trust this has been good for you. I hope it's been good. I look forward to seeing the next video. And please make sure to do these exercises. Write those other bad beliefs down. What's the opposite? Those are probably what you need to be focusing at. And let's go on and move on to the fourth video in this series in terms of understanding the practice, how important it is, our behavior, and what we can do about it, and what Jesus says about it. See you on this other side, okay?